eyes wide open. If you think Dogman is just a legend, keep watching. From shadowy figures stalking rural backroads, from towering wolf-like creatures emerging from the tree line, these sightings have left witnesses shaken, speechless, and forever changed. If you've ever wondered what really growls in the wilderness after sunset, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's take a look.
These entities are now going to be coming out. It's like not even hiding anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's wild. Like, what are we going to see? The Bible says like the days of Noah. What's that going to look like? You know?
This amazing picture was taken by John in British Columbia. Listen up, because this might be one of the most important pictures I show you. Now, ever since I heard of the Dogman, I've been hoping that it's real. And this is just one of the clips I'm showing you tonight, and it might be one that finally proves that these things are real. Okay? Check this out. This photo was actually emailed to us by a man who claims that he was actually out there hunting for Bigfoot, John. And it was deep in the wilderness of British Columbia, Canada. He already spent 3 days supposedly in this area camping alone. And on the third day, he decided to set up a trail cam to cover one angle and then set up his other camera on a tripod to cover the other angle. I mean, if you look closely at the right-hand side, at the bottom of the image, you can actually see that other camera, okay? So he said he was just about to like turn it 90 degrees toward the trail. So he could literally film both sides at once, you know, two different vantage points. But before he even hit record on his main camera, he stepped about 30 feet back into the trees to go to the bathroom, right? That's when he suddenly heard all this movement out of nowhere. And it sounded like it was something big right near his camp. So he literally sprinted back. And by the time he got there, he wasn't that far away. Remember, like 10 paces, 20 paces away, the thing had already taken off. But he said he saw it, and it looked like a massive black shadow tearing through the trees. But when he checked his trail cam, which luckily was on later that night, this is what he found. And the moment he saw it, he packed up everything, and he said that he hasn't gone back since.
You can literally see that shift.
That's right.
You can literally see that shift.
Big time.
And maybe it's overplaying hands. You know, like when the pendulum swings really hard one way,
Right.
it tends to swing back.
That's true.
And I feel like we're kind of experiencing that. I feel like we're in a time where these things are going to start showing their faces. People have been experiencing things that they can't explain.
Yes.
Anything from cryptozoology to the Dogman, the Bigfoot, these creatures that theoretically shouldn't exist.
These eyes illuminate near the forest floor. And I say illuminate, but it's probably the wrong word. It's eye shine is what it is. And these eyes instantly capture our attention because they're not like other animal eyes that you may have seen in the woods. They're front facing, which is symbolic of predators. Most predators have front facing eyes. And so that's the first thing we noticed was that the eyes they're facing forward, but they were large. Like they were bigger than our eyes, I would say, bigger than human eyes. And your natural reaction for something like with eyes that big in Wisconsin is going to be deer. That's what it's going to be. But the way that the eyes were positioned, i.e. front facing, and they were about 6 inches apart. Like from where we were standing, it looked like you could go up to this thing and you could put your hand in between the eyes, and the eyes, you wouldn't touch both of them. Like it was a large face that these eyes were in. And it was so low to the ground that from an animal that size with front-facing eyes, the only thing that I could compare it to was if you were in the woods trying to sneak up on us or something, and you were down in the prone, like sort of like as low to the ground as you could get with your head, your chin sort of resting on the ground, looking up like this, like looking up the hill at us. That kind of triggered us a little bit because it looked like this thing was hiding, like trying to hide. Like it didn't know that we had caught the eye shine yet. And we're all kind of slowly arming ourselves, because even though bears and wolves are uncommon in Wisconsin, especially that far south, you can find them in the Northwoods once in a while, but not really that far south. We were preparing for the instance that this was a large predator, just in case, and we couldn't scare it away. At this point, we are literally chucking stick after stick. We're all throwing stuff at this thing, and the eyes aren't moving at all. Like, we're not hitting it, and the eyes aren't moving. They're staring straight at us. And then this thing, we can't see the thing itself, but the eyes rise, and it's like this thing stood up, and they get to about 6.5, 7 feet off the ground. So like, we now know this thing is bigger than any of us at a minimum. We had hoped that this could be something like a deer raising its head, but we kept going back to just the shape of the eyes and the position of the eyes, the distance apart, the crouch. It didn't make sense for this to be a deer. It was too big to be an animal that could potentially climb a tree, like a raccoon or something. So we know that it wasn't a raccoon that scurried up the tree and was now just looking over at us. It wasn't hidden behind the trees, because we could see both eyes still just blatantly staring at us.
About that time, I felt the hair on the back of my neck raise up. I knew something was looking at me. And I turned around real slow, and standing about 30 foot away was this creature. The one I seen was only about 6 foot tall. I guess it was a juvenile. It just stood there. It didn't make a move. It didn't make a sound. And a lot of people report that really bad smell sometimes. It didn't smell anything. And I'll be honest, it scared me. 13 years old, it scared me. I finally seen it, and it scared me. I took off running for the house, and I may have run through the ball bar. I don't remember now, to be honest. But coming off that mountain, Jesse Owens couldn't have caught me that day. I got down to my granddaddy's house, come running around the corner of the house hollering. And he said, "What's the matter with you, boy?" And I said, "There's something up on the mountain. I don't know what it is." I said, "I'm going to get my deer rifle and go back up there." He says, "You sit down here. You ain't going nowhere." Well, you know how it was back in them days. You didn't argue with granddaddy. And, I always wondered why he didn't. I guess he didn't want me running up there with a darn gun, maybe shooting somebody. But I got thinking, my granddad was born in that place, 1911. I really think he knew it was up there.
I first went out and the picture of a Dogman about 5 years ago, and I don't know where it came from. It was just there in the forest, looking at me. I was looking at it. It didn't growl at me. It just showed me his teeth, and he raised his head up and sniffing, and he just took off. And then when I went back to the cabin, this thing followed me home, and it has clawed both of my trees, took a frontal bite out of one of my trees.
He was a trained military observer. He said this thing had boar-like fur around the neck and around the back, and I'm talking boar hog-like fur. Said it was running. It had a large coyote in its mouth. It was steering with its front legs. It was on all fours. He's in a minivan. This thing came up even with the hood of their minivan. He estimated if it stood up, the height of it would have been 7 foot or in excess. He estimated the weight in excess of 350 pounds. This creature crossed in front of him and his wife, steered away from the vehicle with its front human-like hands, and had more dog-like legs on the rear.
On that tape, we actually heard a tree knock that sounded like a gunshot. And then we heard this really intense half growl, half bark. Then this thing shows up on tape. We see its shadow across on the other RV I was talking about, where this recorder's pointing. We see the shadow and you see the ears and the snout, and then it opens its mouth and you can actually see the shadow of its teeth. And we just kept backing it up and watching it, backing it up, watching it, going, no, what is this? And it ended up, you could see it, the shadow of it walking over to the corner of the house, the cabin. And in the shadow, you can see its tail. You can see that it was standing on two legs, walking on two legs. And you could see the digigrade legs on it, down by its feet. Then it walks over and it looks around the cabin, around the corner. But when it came over to the corner, it looked one way, and then it quickly looked back at the camera, and then it backed up. And when I was able to isolate that frame shot and look at his face, it was a German Shepherd looking face with the black around, triangle on the nose coming down to the nose, brownish around the eyes and the cheeks. Once my buddy, he had decided to go up on the hill, because we have to go up on the hill at the campgrounds to get cell service. So he was going to go up and check his messages. And he went up on the hill and he's parked. He's got his flip phone out, which that's all we ever used to take pictures, was his flip phone. Well, he's got it out and he's checking his messages. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, this Dogman drops down out of a tree. And it's a black and silver Dogman. The head looks more wolf than it does dog. I mean, it just, more timber wolf, big protruding teeth. But the thing that got me the most was the eyes were amber, glowing amber eyes. And this was in daylight. It was like noon when this happened. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to. He actually got a photo of it. Now, this is nothing that's going to be shared or anything like that, because we all know pictures are subjective. I don't even want to get down that route, but I got to see it firsthand. And it's a pretty scary looking dude. He has the bodybuilder chest, and you can see a little bit of rip, or, six pack as it gets down, but that's as far down as he got the picture. And he just basically snapped him thinking, I'm going to die, but at least I'm going to have a picture of what killed him. And then he said behind him, he heard this loud crack, and this thing jumped over the cart and was gone. And he quickly turned around and didn't even see it. It was so fast, it's gone.
I can see something or the outline of something, and it looks like it's cloaking. And darn good, too.
We're exploring that particular graveyard one day. When you get this feeling when you walk in the woods, like I said before, when you don't hear birds, crickets, nothing, everything just, stops. Well, a predator's around. So I just start taking pictures. So we were leaving and I'm going through and looking at the pictures, and there's a picture on there. I couldn't believe it. It's a huge outline, and you could see two red eyes, and you could see the outline of two pointy ears.
Some weird shit going on, y'all. Some weird shit. Y'all gotta stay on your toes. Or wolf man might bite them mugs off. Stay up on. So I'm gonna show y'all an area I was patrolling one night. And when I came up over this hill with my lights and spotted the situation going on, everybody scattered. Everybody was out. It was like roaches. So I'm driving up right when my lights hit the situation. Ran up this big hill in like 3 jumps, 2, 3. You see how big this hill is? Look at the building and then look at the hill. I had to rethink life all in that second because I thought I was crazy. I'm like, am I really seeing what I'm seeing? Is you okay? How's your blood pressure? Is you good? You got a fever? Cannot stress enough when I tell you CERN is really out here doing some. We are living in a supernatural world. We are fighting against supernatural principalities of this world. I have been through so much spiritually. Okay, so this thing ran over this hill And look where this hill leads to. The Missouri River. So, y'all know what they say about things that lead to the river. That's where all the animals and stuff go. That's where the food and stuff is. And voila.
The elusive Dogman. Okay, every region has its stories. You have some people that talk about ghosts and some people that talk about Bigfoot. But then there's just this one that slips out when that fire burns low and that bottle becomes empty. This is the story about a cryptid that walks like a man. They call it the Dogman. Now, you have some folks that treat it like a joke, almost like a campfire myth. But when you really start listening, when you hear the same descriptions from people that have never met each other, that are states apart and decades apart, you realize that there's something strange going on here. And these stories, they're all describing the same thing. You got something lurking in these woods that's tall, muscular, and covered in fur. And it's got a wolf head and a man body. And they claim that it has amber eyes, even when there's no light to catch it. And the part that sticks with most people, it's the way this thing moves. They claim it doesn't run like an animal, and it doesn't act cautious like a predator. Most people claim that it just steps out of the trees and watches you, almost like it's studying you, like it knows exactly what you're thinking. And if you're unlucky enough to make eye contact, that's the moment that you realize that you're not looking at just some legend. You're looking at something that you thought was impossible until that exact moment that you made eye contact with evil. You see, the Dogman, it's not like Bigfoot. Bigfoot, he tends to hide, and he tends to run when people see it. The Dogman, he doesn't do that. This thing, he stands there, his shoulders are squared, just like he's daring you to do something about it. That's what makes this different. Because when the witnesses start shaking when they talk, when you hear that crack in their voice, that part that doesn't sound rehearsed, you realize that whatever this thing is, it leaves scars that doesn't fade.
February 2nd, 2004. Michael Acomo was camping for the weekend around Fresno, California. The following video was captured on his cell phone.
Alright, here we are once again camping. Beautiful view. Here's my campsite. Simple. It's nice to get away, get some peace and quiet. You have to check out this hill up here. Get a full view. Great scenery. Get an idea of where I'm at. Shape up there. My God. That ain't right. It's like a wolf, but holy crap. I don't think I should be up here. I think I should be getting one.
Alright, well, I've never seen anything like it. Camping outdoors a lot, and of course I didn't bring my gun like I normally do. But I have my tent set up here, kind of filming, so, my girlfriend could see what's going on where I'm at, share that a little bit. Tent, chairs, and I heard a little noise up the hill here, like an animal's running around. So, look up here. These boulders, I seen something that looked like a wolf jumping in and out, but it was on 2 feet.
Well, I went to get the tractor, and there's this black dog. I'm not sure, you guys. It had its mouth on its neck, picking it up and carrying it. 300-pound steer. Shot it. Dropped that cow, stood up on its feet, looked at us, tucked its hand in like this, and ran like a human. My daughter was hiding in her closet crying for some reason. I went in her room and I smelled sulfur, like horrible sulfur.
People notice a weird and a particularly bad smell.
So I went in and got her, and I went out to leave for work the next morning, and there is 3 claw marks 7.5 feet up, all the way down my daughter's wall.
Oh
Outside.
my God.
Yeah, I sold my farm in a heartbeat.
And then after that, when we were looking through just the snow, we found wolf prints that were, no joke, bigger than my hand. And that's just the paws, not like the claw prints.
You see a dog man while hiking, it's not. And it's not the dog man that you see that you have to worry about, because I do believe they work in a pack, just like any other canine species will. And the one that you see is the one that is going to jump scare you. And when humans are scared, they release a pheromone or a scent for stress and fear that dogs pick up on.
Most specifically, the Dogman. My story begins on a beautiful day on August 1st, 2023, in Cuyahoga County, which is in Northeast Ohio. I was hiking in a local park. The sun was out and the temperature was warm. I had been on the trail for just about 20 minutes. Just then I heard a loud sound of something big banging around in the bushes, not more than 100 feet from me. This did not sound like a deer, as I have heard many of them. This was something different. I could not see what it was, I could only hear it. I had my cell phone with me and turned on the camera and started taking pictures in the direction of the sound. After I took 5 or 6 pictures, I hastily hiked back to my car. Sometime later, I decided to look at the pictures I had taken. When I looked at the first one and zoomed in on it, I was shocked. Looking right at me from the bushes was an all-black canine with pointy ears. I've been back to that exact spot where I took the picture. The area where the Dogman was is in a briar patch. The ground slopes down at least 4 to 5 feet back there, so this creature had to be pretty tall. And when I researched the moon phase for August 1st, it was a full moon at 100%.
And as it begins to get closer, I see a bipedal canid type wolf-like beast, 2 legs, and it's walking towards me. I can't move. I can't use my legs. I can't use my arms. This intense feeling, I'm almost can't breathe. It has sped my rate of breathing up like I had run a race. And this thing's getting closer to me. And as it gets closer to me, I notice the ears on it are erect and they're like pointed towards me, and it's staying outside the glow of the fire, but it's getting closer and backing away, coming back, going back and forth, and it's pacing left and right. And then it walks in. And as it walks in, I can see this thing sniffing the air. It's almost as if it's sniffing me. And I look back now, I wonder if it was trying to sniff fear. And then it grins at me. This thing exposes its teeth. And by this point, it comes in close enough, within 15 to 25 yards, and it exposes itself. And I'm seeing something that should not exist. This thing does not exist on this earth. And is it a man in a costume? Is this a hoax being played? Is it a joke? All these things going through my mind. But you got to also understand what is affecting my body. There's something not right with my body. Can't move, can't do anything, and this thing's getting closer. The only thing I could think of at the time was my religious upbringing. And I'm thinking, whatever this is, it's going to take me out. It's going to eat me or kill me. And I began to pray. I just felt like I was regaining my mind back, but I could see this thing and it was not moving closer. Now I'm praying in my mind. I'm not praying verbally yet, but this thing's staring at me. I'm staring at it, and I'm saying the prayer. And then I began to verbally pray. I began to feel strength, and I began to feel stronger. And at some point, my senses come to me, and I moved. And when I moved, my training kicked in, and I retrieved my firearm with my right hand. And I had on my possession, it actually was my department issued weapon at the time. And I pulled my firearm and I pointed it at this creature. And when I did, the creature moved backwards. This beast, this demon, whatever I was seeing that should not exist, it moved. And that told me that this animal was intelligent. He bumps into something and I hear him screaming. I later find out from him that he's screaming, I got one, I got one. I'm looking towards the camp, and whatever these things are going through our camp, and they are tearing that camp to bloody pieces. I see parts of the tent, the canvas, and the tarp that was on it is just being ripped to pieces. I've got the fire glowing, and I'm seeing the same thing that went up the ridge, the same thing that was in front of me. I'm seeing a canine creature that is standing on two legs, half man, half wolf, half something, and it's ripping our camp apart. I got the stuff in the cane patch, and the cane that is beside of us, it's running alongside of the truck. That's what's focusing my attention when he hits something. He hits something that goes down the right side, passenger side of this pickup truck. And I hear it, but it's not, I got too much going on. It's not registering that this thing's trying to get in the truck or in the back end with me. So he hits the creek, bottoms out, comes up, and we tear out of the camp. And we start heading for the trace. Some point, mile, a little bit further, I've been banging on top of the truck. My friend was an excellent pursuit driver at work. He was well noted, so he was a good driver. But he was, by this point, he's just lost control, and he's driving too fast, scary, and I'm beating on top of the roof, stop and let me in. I wanted inside that truck, and I wanted to ride with him. Somewhere at some point, he does let me in, and he is tearing out of Land Between the Lakes, and he is heading towards the South Check Station towards Dover, Tennessee.
Today, everyone who steps foot into the woods brings a cell phone or photography gear. There's also recording devices everywhere. Dash cams, trail cameras, and drones. So if the Dogman stories from the past are real, then we should have photo and video evidence of the creature today. And we do. A lot of it. Over the past few days, I dug through the entire internet to find the strongest, clearest, most convincing Dogman evidence ever caught on camera. But let's start with the audio recordings. What would you hear right before you get eaten alive by the Dogman? The audio people have captured is terrifying. On March 6, 2020, a man named Bob called into the Dogman Encounters radio with one of the most disturbing Dogman encounters ever recorded. He and 11 other people encountered a Dogman while on the outskirts of Lumber River State Park in North Carolina. From inside his RV with the creatures circling outside, Bob managed to hit record, and what he captured is nightmare fuel. Now these sounds are terrifying. The howl is similar to a wolf's, but deeper, heavier, like something far bigger. But here's the part that shook me the most. I've heard this exact same sound before in real life. Years ago, I was investigating the Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee with my friend Karma the Maker. We had to sneak onto a farmer's property to even reach the cave. And we'd already been caught once by the guy riding his ATV up to us with a shotgun on his lap. So that night, we hid in a ditch beside his property line waiting for him to go to sleep so we can sneak into the cave. When suddenly, from somewhere in the forest in the direction of the cave, the woods erupted in the exact same noise that I just showed you. At the time, I had never heard of Dogman at all ever before, but how we described the sound right after we heard it was it kind of sounded like a dying donkey mixed with a wolf's howl, and it was very, very loud. It sounded exactly the same as those audio recordings, except I heard it very clearly. The sound was coming from about 50 meters somewhere in the tree line, somewhere towards the entrance of the cave we were supposed to sneak inside. We had no idea, neither of us knew what this sound was. It was just a mystery. It freaked us out so much that we actually left. And good thing we did, because that noise remained a mystery noise up until I was doing research for this video. Those are the exact same sounds I heard with Karma the Maker. And here's the really scary part. Adams, Tennessee, where the Bell Witch's Cave is located, is only 20 minutes from this known Dogman hotspot, the most world-famous Dogman hotspot, which really leads me to believe that what we heard that day was the Dogman. And before anyone tries to say that the first clip was fake, listen to this second audio clip captured by hunters inside Land Between the Lakes. It sounds nearly identical. And here's another one recorded at Indian Mound, only 30 minutes from both Adams, where I heard the noise, and the Land Between the Lakes hotspot. All of these recordings are eerily similar. Different people in different areas all recording the exact same thing. But here's what proves these aren't just guys playing a sound effect in the woods. Even though the sounds match, they each have distinct vocal differences, slight changes in tone, pitch, and power, close enough to the same type of creature, but different enough to confirm that these are unique, real vocalizations, not a reused recording or a hoax. Whatever's making these sounds, it's out there, and people have heard it. Now, if the sounds weren't enough to convince you that something real's out there, just wait, because the audio is just the beginning. There are tons of photo evidence. While researching this video, I went through hundreds of Dogman photos. Footprints, claws, marks on metal, clumps of fur, shredded livestock, and even alleged photographs of the creature itself. Some of these images were taken by authorities during active investigations. Others came from hunters, hikers, and people who had no idea what they were about to capture. But out of everything I've seen, let me show you the most credible and the hardest to explain photo evidence of the Dogman. A fisherman named John claims he was stalked by a Dogman, not once, but twice. And he says he even managed to capture the creature on camera. John was out kayaking on Boxing Day when the first incident happened. As he paddled along the water, he noticed something unsettling. Every time he took a stroke with his paddle, something in the bush beside him took a matching step. When he stopped, the footsteps stopped. When he started paddling again, the footsteps started again. This wasn't an animal randomly moving through the brush. Whatever it was shadowing him stride for stroke. Feeling watched, John took a photo toward the tree line, and he believes he captured the figure that was stalking him. According to him, the creature was tall, upright, and shaped like a half dog, half human. After showing the photo to others, the consensus was the same. Whatever it is, it looks like a Dogman. The encounter shook him so badly he was petrified for a month. He woke up from nightmares of the creature staring at him from the tree line. But eventually, he forced himself to return to the area for another fishing trip. And that's when the second encounter happened. John heard a loud bang from the bush, followed by something running at high speed. It was smashing through trees so violently he couldn't tell if they were breaking or being pushed aside. Then came the roar. He describes it as the loudest and most unnatural sound he'd ever heard. Something primal inside him told him to go now or you'll die. He sprinted to his car, unarmed with no phone service, convinced he was about to be killed. John says he never believed in the Dogman before this, but after his two encounters in the photograph, he felt forced to come forward to the news with this photograph in fear that someone else might get hurt.
Something up there on that hill. Yeah, there they are. Thought so. Maybe that red one with the black face. there on that hill. Yeah, there they are. Thought so. Maybe that red one with the black face. Oh, looks like him.
The Dogman appears on, of course, a 7-year cycle. Every 7 years. The next one is due is 2027. If you're new, 7 is not really a holy number. It's the apocalyptic number, including Revelations, the Bible. That's the apocalyptic prophecy. And every other prophecy, including the Sumerian tablets. It's the number of death. The Ottawa Americans have been telling us about this thing for hundreds of years. 1887 was the first official report. Wexford County, 2 lumberjacks had seen it. This thing has had tons and tons and tons of countless reports. And it's always the same. It's like a furry man that alternates standing up straight and walking and also running on its hind legs and forelegs, and that it has huge canine teeth, broad shoulders, and it howls, it screams like a man. Oh, and that it's super tall, like 7 feet. 1937, Paris, Michigan, Robert Fortney got attacked by a pack of these, and there's police reports, real hospital reports. He described them as a pack of wild dogs that walked on 2 legs. In 1993, a young girl named Courtney was sneaking a cigarette behind her parents' house, and she saw this thing walking on 2 legs and then going down and walking on 2 legs, and she managed to get a photo of it when it was in the downward position. In 1961, another man, a watchman, got a picture of it. He heard the wrestling of the gate, chains, and then he went over and described it as the same exact as everybody, 7 feet tall. He said brown and gray fur alternating from walking to standing up. A prominent politician who wanted to remain anonymous, but it was a real incident with a real police report. They're just withholding the information on who it is. He witnessed this thing. He was taking the scenic route down Cedar Road, and he saw this thing, what he described as a werewolf, standing on both legs. As he got close to it, he sees the eyes shining, he sees a deer by it that he's eating, and then the thing takes off, like on all 4s. He was familiar with animal tracks, so after he unfroze a bit, he got out of the car with his flashlight and looked for tracks, and he found some. He put this shotgun shell in for comparison, which a shotgun shell is like 2.5 inches. So far, all of these have been in Michigan, but he's also seen in Wisconsin as the Beast of Bray. Guess where the Michigan Triangle is? Right between Wisconsin and Michigan.
Walking along a good probably 7 to 10 seconds before it had turned its head.
That thing, that was no dog. That was too big to be a dog. That thing was bigger than me.
That thing was stalking cornfields, jumping on cars, and feasting on roadkill. For 2 years, people in Elkhorn, Wisconsin whispered about a king-sized creature who roamed Gray Road.
In 1990, so many residents of Millbrook County made this report. It was in newspapers, books, on the TV. So then Linda Godfrey, a reporter, came to investigate, which, she was skeptical at first, but then, by the end, she was a total believer and even wrote a book about it. And then look what was caught on camera at the zoo.
So that's at the Amarillo Zoo, and they came across this weird image while looking at some security footage recently. It was captured in the middle of the night. It was back in May, and the city of Amarillo wants your help.
We were visiting her stepdad's house, which he lives in Morristown, Michigan. He actually lives right on Morristown Road, which is just outside of Lake City, Michigan. It was approximately, I want to say middle of October, maybe second week of October. We were going to her friend's house who live on Morristown Road as well. And we had spent a little time at their house. We came back to her stepdad's house. It had gotten dark at that time. And as we were leaving her stepdad's house, sorry, I'm getting chills thinking about it. But we pulled out of the driveway onto Morristown Road, and she started going. She drives pretty fast. We were doing about 30 miles per hour when I looked to my right. I was in the front passenger seat of her Chevy Blazer, which is not a super low car. And to my right was this wolf head creature running with our Blazer. Black fur, also with some gray fur under the chin. I remember it specifically because it was within 2 feet of my head, and he's running with the Blazer. And I said, go, 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 because I didn't know what it was. And she said, what? And she took off, and I don't know
I just
you.
started driving, but I just could barely, I seen you freaking out more than, but yeah.
It didn't make any noise, but when I looked at it, it looked at us and its eyes were red. And I don't know. I've never been scared of an object like that, but I was actually pretty scared at that moment. That was why I said go, 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 because I wasn't sure what this was. But in a running position on two legs, because this wasn't on four legs, this was on two legs, and its head was at the top of the window. So I'm assuming if this thing was standing up, it was probably close to 7 feet tall. And that was kind of our experience. When she said go, 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 she got up to probably about 50 and it kind of faded off to the side. And I didn't see what part of the woods it ran off to, but there wasn't very many houses in that area.
Can you remember any more detail of the face?
Other than the fact that it was lean. That was one of the big things, was that the snout was long. So, and then as I looked at its shoulders as it's running, it seemed very lean to me, like kind of like a wolf would be lean, almost muscular in a way, but thin still. And it was the change of the fur that kind of caught me as well. The hair, I guess, maybe black and gray, and the black in the back, gray in the front. And as it kind of was moving in the wind as he was running with us, because I don't exactly remember where he came from. He just was next to the blazer.
Did you see its teeth by chance?
Yes. I don't, it doesn't pop out to me. The eyes more, the red reflection in the eyes is more what caught me.
Yeah. Were they large eyes, small eyes? Anything about the eye shape?
No, nothing size wise. I mean, I guess I would say beady, so smaller. Red was what I had seen, and I would say it was probably right around when we left there that night. I think it was between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, so it was definitely dark out.
Yeah. What about the ears? Did you see the ears?
They were pointing up. They were definitely pointing straight up the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were the ears on top of the head, on the side of the head?
I would say the one that, because I was seeing him from the side more or less until he turned, but it was right at the top, right here, went to a straight point, and they stayed pointed the whole time. Like they didn't kick back like he was running. They stayed up.
They stayed up.
Yeah.
Wow. And the ears, I've heard a story in Kentucky. The guy that saw the ears on one said there was tufts of hair. He saw.
I would agree with that.
Inside the ear.
Oh yeah, there was hair everywhere. I'm thinking of it as a wolf myself. Like I'm wondering if I had a wolf running next to me, but no wolf runs on its back legs, and the hair was longer than you would see on a wolf. You know what I mean? It was definitely long.
And you saw the entire face and head.
Entire face when he turned, yes.
And any other part, like shoulders, arms, anything like that?
Yes, I mean when he's running, it was extremely quick, but I mean he's in that position, and like I said, like these arms were lean. They weren't like a dog arms. They were like more of a human arm covered in hair. You know what I mean? Like a very lean, muscular human arm, but hairy.
Hairy.
Yeah.
And again, where was this again?
So this was Rose finished her high school, and she lived in Morristown, Michigan. Morristown, Michigan is just north of Lake City, Michigan.
Yeah, about 12 miles.
Right off of, she's about what? You were about what, 3 miles off of M66?
Yeah.
3 or 4 miles off of M66 in Morristown. And I mean, we've heard of other people that have, seen weird things in that area as well that are similar to that, sighting.
Since the sighting, has it changed your life at all?
It's definitely made me, more of a less skeptic, I guess, more open-minded about it, in that way.
You have any nightmares?
No, I haven't had nightmares, but it's definitely not a picture that I've ever forgotten. When I seen it, I still see it. I mean, it's been 25 years, but I still remember it, like it was recently.
I bet.
Yeah.
And it stayed with you. You were doing about 30 miles an hour?
Yeah.
It was keeping up with you.
I say for a matter of about 9 seconds, and she was on the gas pedal. So, you know, I would say it was probably close to running 50 miles per hour by the time it started to fade back.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was going fast.
It was fast.
And I had another experience in that same area, actually, out by Morristown.
But stand next to your husband because the microphone's right there.
Yep.
You got to get close to him. Right?
All right. So, but this was in high school, but I didn't really see him. But there was 4 of us, like way out in the field, and we had a campfire going on, and we were in a Mustang, and I was with like locals. Like I had just moved up north, so I was kind of like the only city person, you know what I mean? But you know. Anyway, so we were just having a campfire out there, and all of a sudden there was something that started like a screaming, howling, monkeyish. I don't know. It was screaming though, but it started coming like towards us, where the 4 of us all jumped in the Mustang and started peeling out of this field that we were in. But whatever it was like it was still coming after us the same way almost that this happened, you know, with him and I, which is kind of weird, but it, like I said, it's like the same area.
Yeah. So sounds like they're aggressive in that area.
Seems like it. I mean,
we weren't hurting anybody. We were just having a little bonfire. There was only 4 of us, so we weren't even being like loud or anything, you know, nor were So I remember it more like in the middle of a field. Like there weren't woods right next to us. Like seems like, you know, we would have been interfering in anybody's like nest or, you know, home or something. So
yeah,
to chase us out of there, you know,
the nerve of that dog man.
Exactly.
Right.
They have an attitude, you know, these dog men. But it's true. A lot of people will tell you they tend to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So that's an interesting story. I really appreciate you guys sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to share it.
Deve dar pra aqui.
A 2023 werewolf encounter in Ocala National Forest, Florida. Alex and Jason, Two longtime friends and outdoor enthusiasts went on a 2-night camping trip in Ocala National Forest, choosing a remote lakeside area near Juniper Springs. It was a primitive spot, with no marked campground or other people nearby. They arrived on a Friday evening, set up their tent, and spent the night cooking, drinking, and stargazing by the lake. On the second night, around 1 a.m., they were sitting quietly by the fire when they heard large splashing sounds coming from the lake, roughly 40 to 50 feet away. At first they assumed it was a deer or possibly a bear, but the splashes sounded deliberate, like heavy steps, not an animal swimming. Jason shined his flashlight toward the water. That's when they saw a large, upright figure standing waist to chest deep in the lake. It appeared to be covered in wet, dark fur. The creature stood on 2 legs, with a wolf-like head, pointed ears, and long, muscular limbs. According to Alex, its eyes reflected the flashlight beam with an amber or yellow glow, and it did not flinch or react like a normal animal. It simply stood there watching them. The creature then stepped out of the water and up the muddy shoreline, still walking upright. Its build was described as lean but powerful, and its arms hung long, with what appeared to be hands rather than paws. At that point both men panicked. Jason yelled, and they began backing away. The creature tilted its head slightly, then turned and walked back into the tree line, silently disappearing into the darkness. No crashing or rustling was heard, only silence. Shaken and unnerved, they packed up most of their gear and left the area before dawn.
A fort that's besieged by werewolves. Well, there's a part where they're walking through the woods when they hear these werewolves start to howl. Well, they're werewolves in the movie. They have it's not really a howl, it's like a moan. The howl that I heard sounded just like the ones in the movie. I mean, if you were to play them side by side, they sound exactly the same, which is what really creeped me out.
Yeah, that is a really good movie, and I know what you mean. That was a really creepy scene. All right, let's play that recording for the listeners now. Let's play that again. Let's play that one more time. If that howling doesn't make the hair in your butt stand up, you don't scare easily.
He said it was so big that it was holding a coyote by the ribcage in its mouth. Long story short, he's 15 years old, hunting with his grandfather in Kentucky, Daniel Boone National Forest, the upper side of it. And it's middle of the night. His grandfather's in the truck because he was older, so they had radios. The dogs get on a scent. You hear him howling. He comes up on the scene, and he can hear his dogs fighting with coyotes. The coyotes go off. He only had 2 dogs out there. And in that fight, he heard his younger dog run off as well. So now the older dog, who's a really good hunter, really strong dog, is by himself, fights off these coyotes. He comes over, pats him on the head, and he hears his younger dog behind the tree chowing down on a coyote. He goes around the tree, and it's not the younger dog. This was a very large dog on all 4. He said it was so big that it was holding a coyote by the ribcage in its mouth. And he said that when he came up on it, it looked at him, and it stood up on its hind legs, took chase.
Guys, we're out here in Byron, Michigan. Shiawassee River. As you can hear in the background, hear that? We believe that's Dogman. Or a shapeshifter or something's going on. It's a full moon night. Miley! You guys hear that? Huh?
Dogman caught on camera in Georgia.
Show. Where is it?
I'm in the forest right now. Just looking for something. What? What was that?
Shit, bro, I don't know why y'all keep trying to go out here in these woods like this. Gay. Them things in the woods is ops. They're out to get you. And y'all keep going looking for them like they friends. They ops.
Well, folks, we're still trying to make sense of what's happening out near Elk Rapids tonight. Listeners are calling in from all over the place, said they heard howling by Torch Lake, lights flickering at the Shorts Brewing facility. Some folks claim they saw a figure, now get this, tall, covered in fur, dragging what looked like a keg. I don't know what to make of this. Authorities haven't released a statement yet, but the roads around downtown are shutting down. If you're headed that way, turn around, people. Stay inside, lock your doors.
Thank you for watching. If these Dogman encounters sent a chill down your spine, make sure to subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, stay safe, stay aware, question everything, and remember, out there in those woods, something might be watching.